Hey everyone, welcome to The Leader's Edge, your path to personal and leadership growth. I'm your host, Steve Steele, alongside my co-host and partner in leadership, Ernie DeCumos. As certified speakers, coaches, and corporate facilitators, we're dedicated to bringing you powerful principles to fuel your leadership journey and personal growth. Now, whether you're an entrepreneur just starting out, a new leader taking the reins, or a seasoned pro looking to refine your skills, this show is for you. We'll be diving deep into personal growth strategies to help you strengthen your mindset and leadership abilities. But before we jump in, a huge shout out to all of our amazing listeners. Thank you so much for your support each and every week. We wouldn't be here without your incredible support listening to us. Now, let's get down to business and help you unlock your full potential. Hey, partner Ernalita, how are you today?
I don't get a beautiful there, partner.
Oh, yeah. My beautiful partner, Ernalita, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, partner, since you said I'm beautiful. Good morning,
Okay.
everyone. This is your co-host, Ernio Kumos. And yes, this is a beautiful day, not beautiful Ernalita. How are you doing today, handsome partner, Mr. Steele?
Oh, wow. Bernie, thank you so much. I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Thank you. I have been looking forward. I say this almost every week, but this week
Yes.
I really have been looking forward to this show because we've been trying to get this guy on our show for a long time, and he is finally here. So, Ernie, take a minute and share with us who this might be.
Yes, this amazing man that we have to work hard for.
Yeah.
Um, is known as Neallytime, has been a devoted husband to his beautiful wife, Kim, for 15 years and is a loving father to their 6-year-old daughter, Gabriela. Transitioning from a brief career in professional tennis to Mercedes Benz, he now reaches tens of millions of people every day as a nationally syndicated radio host and is the founder and CEO of One Goal Global. Through creating excellent experiences on world stages, he leads a team that adds value in a way only he is uniquely designed to. As a keynote speaker, MC, live DJ, and creative director. He's a true professional who fosters an atmosphere of growth and inspiration while ensuring a great time. He is a John Maxwell Leadership Certified Coach and is the host, and I might add, a great MC for the Maxwell Leadership Live events. Whether addressing a stadium or an intimate gathering, his one goal remains steadfast: to invite people into an experience where they encounter God's love, hope, and joy. Everyone, please help us welcome Mr. Neal Hopson to the green room.
Oh yeah, it is nearly time.
Come
It
on,
is.
Neallytime. That
Yeah,
is so
brother,
good.
we have waited to have you on the show. I cannot believe we've got him, Ernie. We got Neil here. This is
Listen,
amazing.
this is incredible. The most attractive podcast show that I've been on. Come on, Steve, Ernie. Hello.
Oh, I tell you
You
what,
know,
brother, we love you. We love what you do at the Maxwell Leadership. And when we saw you, we really worked hard to get you on this show, and we are so
yes,
appreciative you're here. It's just
absolutely.
amazing, and I just want to say thank you from our bottom of our hearts for being here with us and sharing
Oh,
what you're going to share today. So, are you ready to jump in?
I'm ready to jump in. I just want to first say thank you for having me. This is really an honor to be on your show, and I know you've worked hard to, maneuver to get me on. You got your schedule's packed. You guys have some amazing guests on so far, and you have a whole, year planned out. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be able to share and add value however I can. So we appreciate you so much.
Oh man, thank you, Neil. We appreciate that. So let's dive in, because I am intrigued about what we're going to be talking today. Because when we did the content build on this, I absolutely loved the title that you actually came up with.
Sure.
And the title of our show this week is called "It's Not Rocket Science, It's Reps."
Absolutely.
Now we're going to be talking about leadership, right? So how does rocket science and reps fit into leadership? What does that mean, Neil? Tell me about that. What does it
Well,
mean
I think
getting
that's a
your
great
reps in?
question. It's not rocket science. Most people think about their goal, their dream, and think about, man, it's so far away. And how do I get to this distant land of where I want to be based off of
Mhm.
where I am now? And I always say, well, it's not rocket science. It's okay. Because when we think of rocket science, you think of this chalkboard or a whiteboard and all these equations and the algorithm and the way to get, and it's so complicated. It's kind of like, how am I ever going to figure this out? But when you break it down, it really results to reps, repetition, doing things this same way over and over again until you get good. Because leadership is influence, like John Maxwell says, nothing more, nothing less. But how do you gain influence? Typically, one of the ways you do that is by getting good at something. A lot of people won't listen to you until you're actually good at something where they can actually want to hear what you have to say. There's two ways and two lanes of breaking it down. You could either say, okay, in the faith-based, a lot of relationships are built by, or a lot of influence is gained by relationship. And then when you get into the corporate world, it's built by respect. And a lot of times people won't respect you unless you're really good at something. How do you get good? Well, you do that thing over and over again. You start to learn yourself and you start to learn your audience. And once you put in enough reps, then you'll start to see some receipts in your life. And then it goes from there. But even with our content build, we almost had a podcast right there because we were just going on and on discussing all the things about, it's not rocket science, it's reps and leadership. And it's so exciting because everybody is a leader, whether you like it or not. Everybody has some type of influence. So it's figuring out how to develop that, how to refine it, and how can we grow together. So
that is a beautiful subject, and it's something that we miss a lot of times, right? We don't realize that it takes repetitive actions, repetitive efforts, repetitive investment of time, learning and growth in the process. But if I am somebody who's listening right now, Neal, and they say I'm barely starting, and one of the things why I kept putting off starting whatever it is that I would love to do is the having to do it over and over again. How can I continue doing that every single day?
Yeah, it's funny. I posted a quote recently, and I got the person, the person who actually made the quote. I got that totally wrong. So I'll tell you the quote first. The quote is that you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great.
Yes.
That's right.
So I found out that was Zig Ziglar's quote.
Yes.
And I thought it was Keith Lee's quote. I don't know if you guys know who Keith Lee is. He's like big. He's a foodie on like TikTok and IG. But I thought it was this guy's quote, and I totally got it wrong because I got it passed down because he said it. But it remains true. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to eventually be great. And a lot of people are waiting, like I used to do. I'll be very transparent here. I wanted it to be perfect before I put it out in front of people. Right. And you guys know with the podcast, like it's not going to get good until you actually get some reps in, till you start. How many episodes have you done in order to get to the place where you are really good right now? So a lot of times we wait for things to be perfect instead of it, or we wait for it to be perfect until we start. And it's kind of like sometimes just done is better than perfect.
Yes.
You know, you have we're on iPhone, 16, 17 now. You know, it didn't start there. It started at the first iPhone, and then it went to the second one. And then you have time to get some feedback and see, okay, how can we adjust this? How can we do this better? That's where the reps come into place. And a lot of times people want to skip over all that and just get to the good part. It's kind of like, no, I would say the process is the destination. The journey is the destination. This is where we live, in the journey, in the middle of things. And we're on our way somewhere for sure. But you have to learn to fall in love with the process and think, hey, it's okay. I'm going to stink. John says, I'm never good the first time. So you have to accept that and be okay with failing. Be okay with falling short because you're learning in the process and you're getting good in the process, even if you feel like it or you can see it or not.
Oh, and I look back at our very first episode of this show. we're coming up to our 100th episode pretty quick. Okay,
wow,
that's not a whole lot,
congrats.
but for us, that's a lot, right? But I mean, the first time we did this show, I'm like, I cringed. I just cringed. But what we did is we did something that you were so right. We listened to it. We made improvements. We listened to the next one. We made improvements. We evaluate it and we would go over it and we make improvements. But you know, something there that I want the audience to understand is that doing it over and over and over, it takes work.
Woo.
It takes work. It doesn't just come. It
Four-letter
takes
word
work,
there.
right? It's work involved, and so whatever is worthwhile is going to be uphill, and so you're going to have to work at that, and work at
Absolutely.
that, right?
You know, I think it's so
So
good. Even if I double click on that real quick, I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it's good to acknowledge that work is a good thing and it's okay, right? So many people think that if you're working at something and you have to go through a struggle, then maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe this is not my calling. It's like, no, it's just gonna take work, and it's a good thing to do. You know, I think about I've been in radio for a long time, for like 11 years, and I listen sometimes back to my first shows in the early days. You said I cringe as well. I'm like, oh my goodness, like I should have stopped there. I don't. Oh,
Yeah,
my voice, everything,
yeah.
and like, okay, well, that's where I started. Thankfully, where I am now is not where I started. And even with the podcast, I remember I started a podcast, I think a couple of years ago. And before I even really promoted it, I just wanted to get some episodes under my belt to prove to myself that I
Right.
could be consistent and produce. Because here's what happens. I'm getting excited now. Just stop me.
Yeah. Go ahead. I love it. Go
Here's
ahead.
what happens is that a lot of people they got the post ready, they got the graphic ready, they got everything to promote and market the thing that they haven't developed yet ready
Yeah.
before they actually put in the work in the kitchen to cook the meal, right? You got the signage, you got the grand opening day, but have you cooked before, right?
Yes.
Does it taste good? And a lot of times we get to posting and telling everybody about everything before we even know this can be even proven. Can you produce an episode next week? Can you get up and actually be consistent and give me a product that's going to be similar to what I got last time? And a lot of people cannot. They can do it one and done, right? They get excited about something, but what happens when the motivation wears off, when the glitz and the glam kind of fades, and you're having to play phone tag or email tag with people to try to get them on the show, or
And it's 2 minutes before you go on air. Yeah.
there you go. There you go. And you have people waiting on you, or you have sponsors waiting on you, and you have all these things in limbo. If you haven't put in the reps, then you don't have the confidence to actually walk into this particular place and actually deliver, because you don't even know how you deliver, right? Let alone the other people. So I would say, get in the kitchen, get the ingredients around and start figuring things out. See what tastes good, see what doesn't. You know, I've heard Ryan Leake say this recently. He was like, if you're cooking and everything's like pre-measured, and you know you're putting it together and thinking you're baking a cake, you ain't no chef. Like this is all pre-measured. Somebody else did this, right?
Yeah.
It's not until you start, taking a little flour here, get a little cinnamon, a little vanilla here, and you start mixing and matching, and that's when you find this recipe that really works for you. And that's when you figure out, okay, how long should I put this in the oven? Is it ready yet? Because a lot of people, I'm getting excited again. Okay, a lot of people have the microwave mentality instead of a crock pot mentality, right? You need that crock pot consistency and not the microwave mentality. Because if you skip steps and you try to put, some raw chicken in the microwave, guess what? You might die. Because it's not done.
Yes.
How about you take the time, let it simmer, let it marinate, give it some time. And yeah, you can't eat it right away, but guess what? Over time, it's going to taste better. It's going to give you a complete meal. And because what happens is a lot of people, they try to put it in the microwave, they try to do shortcuts, and the chicken's not quite done yet. And if you serve that to somebody, guess what? They might get sick too. So I always say, hey, take your time, get a rhythm, get a flow. In the reps, they start to produce that confidence because you start to get receipts. People start to see, hey, I see what you're doing here. I like how you're moving here. And then you start to say, okay, I can do that. I can duplicate that. I can get this. I can grow this better. And then you start to develop a full course meal as opposed to, I just got fries. You know what I mean? So.
And it's okay to be messy, right? It's okay to be messy in the kitchen, right?
I like that.
Yeah. It will be messy, actually. It will be messy in the process.
And that's really what the growth comes, is in the messiness.
Yeah.
That's where the growth comes. And that's in everything we do. The messiness, growth comes in the messiness, if that's even a word.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. And the concept of I love the microwave and the crock pot mentality because
Sure.
microwaves, you just want to get it done. It's all instant gratification, right? Instant results,
Yes.
instant gratification. But I don't know about you, Neil. Would you agree that there's no such thing as instant in life?
Yeah, no. Most people say, hey, my career, my overnight success took me 15, 20 years,
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
we live in a viral moment society where everybody wants to blow up, everybody wants to pop off and go viral in a moment's notice. But what people will tell you is that most people that go viral, most people that hit the lottery, wind up broke because their
Mm,
mindset hasn't developed yet. You have
Mhm.
to develop your mind to say, okay, I did one thing well, that's cool, but what else can I do? Because after that viral moment, people want what's next. How many one-hit
Mhm.
wonders have
yes.
we seen,
Right.
throughout history and music? Because that one song did great, and maybe they ate off that one song. That's awesome, but everybody's looking, okay, what's next? Can you follow it up? And you have that pressure. So I always say, hey, take your time. It's not about blowing up right now. I get it. You want the fame and notoriety and the access and relationships and the maybe some material things. That's great for the moment. But you want to be able to sustain that and actually have some
Hmm.
longevity, because that's what really will prove if you're successful, if you do the test of time, if you can actually have longevity and sustainability. So I say, hey, the best thing that could happen to me is not to blow up overnight,
Mm.
because I wouldn't
Mm,
really know who I was, and I wouldn't know who really the audience, how I can serve the audience better, because it's not about me, it's about them.
That's right.
mm. You just
Wow.
opened up another can of worms there, Buzz.
Call me the can opener.
Yeah, well, what happened to Neely time? So okay, this is definitely needle time. We will. This is intriguing and at the same time very stimulating. We will need to take a quick break. Neely time, just share. Yes, just shared what reps mean, and obviously share the difference between a microwave mentality and a crockpot mentality. When we return, I would like to dive into about how do you actually fall in love with the process.
Ooh.
We will be
Ooh.
right back to the Leader's Edge.
Welcome back to the Leader's Edge, everyone. We're so glad you're here. I'm Steve Steele, and my co-host Ernie DeCumos, and our special guest today is Neal Hopson. And wow, what a first segment! That was it was so awesome. And like Ernie said it earlier, it was stimulating. And so I think we're even going to get a little bit more stimulating here in just a second, because the more you get excited, Neal, the more things get stimulated. So we're going to talk
I'm
about
ready
it.
to go. Come
I
on
love
now.
it. I absolutely love it. Here we go. Okay, so we talked a little bit about rocket science. It's not rocket science, it's reps. What does that mean? We talked about several things concerning that, but I want to pose you the same question that Ernie did at the first segment. The process of doing it over and over and over and over again. We know that's work. We know that's tough. We know that's monotonous. So how does a person learn to fall in love with it?
Ooh, that's good.
Ooh,
Falling in love, first of all, it's a choice. Okay. I know it's not a marriage podcast or relationship or anything like that,
Right, right, right,
but
right.
it is a choice to say, you know what, this is the direction I want to go. And the cool thing about it is as you start to date the process and date your destiny or your dreams, you start to find out some things that you like and some things that you don't like. And you start to go along this journey and say, okay, how can I get to where I want to go? And sometimes in the process, you start thinking, well, maybe this is not the pathway I should take. Maybe if you look at your GPS, there's a couple of different routes you can take. And sometimes the fastest route is not the best route because there's speed bumps, there's traffic, there's obstacles along the way. So it's like, maybe I should take the side road. And a lot of times when we think that we can get there quickly, I'm a man of faith, and I know you all as well. It's like sometimes God will take us on the side road and slow us down a little bit because he can see what's ahead in the process. And a lot of times we just want to get there quickly. So what I've learned to do, because I'll just let you in, I'm not a big fan of road trips. I'm not sure if you guys are or not. Like, you like road trips?
I'll fly there.
Fly me. I'm like Sinatra. Fly me to the moon. Like, just get me there quick.
Yeah, just get me there.
Road trips, I've had to learn to slow down because like we would go in on a 4 or 5 hour trip. I don't want to take any stops, no breaks, no snacks. Like, let's just get there. And what I'm learning to do is that it's a lot more fun. I'm a lot more fun. The journey is a lot more fun when I learn to just be in the moment. Just be in the moment. Enjoy where we are. Celebrate some of those wins and appreciate where you are now, because when you get to where you're going, guess what? There's another journey ahead. There's another challenge ahead. So I'm learning to slow down and to relax a little bit and say, you know what? This is where I'm supposed to be right now. And I'm asking God, like, what do you want me to learn right now in the process? Because there's something that I'm learning now that's going to help me 10 months from now, a year from now, wherever I get to, because so many times we are underdeveloped. I see so many people that are in a place, but they're just not ready for that place. And we've seen so many people fail and fall and all the other things because the development in the dark wasn't long enough. And once the light hit them, it kind of burned them up a little bit, exposed them. And that's really all success is. It'll just amplify and expose who you really are. So I encourage people, hey, take time. Take it while it's private, while you're in the dark and you're developing, when nobody can see you, when you're in the field off to the side and you don't get the acknowledgement, you're undervalued, you're overlooked, you're underpaid, and you feel like, well, why not me? Why can't I? It's kind of like, hey, take the time now, because there'll become a season where you'll step into the light and you want to be ready for it because the pressure is a lot more intense. There's more scrutiny, there's more criticism. And you have to be ready to handle that in order to succeed in life, because if not, you will burn up in it.
Yeah, beautifully said, Neal. And we have learned that in our journey as well. When, you have to grow with the process. You have to grow in the journey as you're reaching your goals. And I love what Papa John said. He said that you are not as good as you think you are, but you are also not as bad as you think you are, right?
So good. Right. So
We-
good.
we we are underdeveloped, and I believe that like you said, taking your time actually helps you marinate too into the person you are to be in that level.
Can I add something on that? I love
Yes.
that.
Sure.
Early in the process, I've experienced this, I've done this, and I have to even fight it to this day. Before I go on stage, I'm thinking of a couple of things. And one of those things is that, Neal, get over yourself, right?
Yes.
Get over yourself. This is what the process helps us do, to learn that it's not about me, Steve. It's about you. How can I serve my audience? John, who was Michael Jr., a comedian.
Love him.
Yes.
He's great. He says this. He's like, I used to think that when I got on stage, I was trying to get laughs from people. And it wasn't until I switched my mindset to say, hey, I'm trying to give them a gift of laughter. Right. I'm not trying to get something from them. I'm trying to give something to them. And when you go on stage or when you open a microphone or pop on your camera, you start thinking, okay, how can I give something to the audience as opposed to try to get something? So it's like you're self-conscious, or you're thinking about your followers or stats or subscribers or comments. Like, stop thinking about all that. Think about how can I hit the expectation and then exceed the expectation. And when you're in the process, you start to develop and start to kill the I don't know, the vanity, and you start to push all that down and say, you know what, it's not about me, it's about them. And then when you actually have an opportunity to talk to somebody, you can add value to them as opposed to trying to puff yourself up.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I would love to add to that. It's just a thought. When we do not prioritize ourselves in that aspect and actually in the serving mode, it builds our credibility to the people. It builds the credibility. We don't even have to do it ourselves. They will already tell us, right? I do have I'm a devil's advocate. Obviously, there's somebody out there saying, well, this is great information. I love the concept of falling in love with the process. But what about on days when things are not going well?
Sure.
How can how can I still fall in love with the process?
You have to remember your why. Why are you doing it in the first place? That always helps me bring me back to center. Because if I'm thinking about, just getting to where I want to go or what I'm going to gain from this or reap from this, then it's easy to get discouraging because, nobody, just say, for instance, I work out and I try to, stay active and fit. Some days I don't want to go to the gym, but I do want the result of going to the gym. And I'm staring there looking at my shoes and I'm like, kicking them around a little bit because I don't want to put them on. But I make it easy. Okay. Oh, okay. This is good. This is good. This is good. Okay.
All right.
On those days where it's tough,
yes,
you have to, having habits and having some system set up in your life will help you on the days where you don't want to do it because it's just a thing that you're going to do. So what I do the night before I work out is I put out my clothes. I'll have my shoes out, my shorts and my shirt and everything, socks, undies, everything out. So all I have to do is roll out of bed, throw on something, and sit in the car. Then you put the car in drive, and then you get to the gym. Sometimes you don't want to get out of the car. You get out and just walk in.
Yes,
You're eliminating some of those obstacles and barriers of entry, so you can continue to do the thing. So maybe for you, if you're doing a podcast, you're doing a show, you have your equipment set up and is ready to go. So all you have to do is sit down, press record, and you can start instead of trying to set everything up. If it's kids, meal prepping, making sure like the little things are in place as much as possible. So it's easy just to say yes. Right. And when you make it easy to say yes, it's hard to say no because you've developed some consistency and you're like, you know what, I might as well continue on and do it today. So yeah, fall in love with it, set some processes.
And I probably said this on the show a million times, but it's from Papa John, and it is about consistency. Never underestimate the power of consistency, the compounding effect of consistency. Yes. He said that, and I've heard it, and I never forgot that. But I want to touch on something, Neal, you said a minute ago that intrigued me. And I want to unpack it just a little bit.
Sure.
You said success or you said something similar to this. Success will expose who you truly are.
Yeah.
What is that? So I want to know what that means because I know our listeners are, what do you mean? I'm going to get successful. What does that mean? It's going to expose me.
Sure. I think success, it could be money, attention. It's just an amplifier. It's a magnifying glass to who we really are. And, a lot of times we think when we get there, then it's like, no, it's who you are right now.
Yeah.
How you treat people now. Do you stop? Do you talk to them? Do you look them in the eye? Do you give them the time of day? Because it's easy to do it when you're in the room with some relationships that, that can benefit you. Yeah. But how about the person that's in the kitchen, that's in the back room, that's serving you? Maybe the waiter or the person that's bussing the tables, like how do you treat them? Those are the things that matter the most because number one, I feel like God sees that, but you don't know who else is seeing that as well. And you want to make sure that who you are right now is who you want other people to see. Who you are in private, do you want people to see that in public? And are we perfect? No. Are we in process? Yes. But success, you start to have access to certain things, right? Yes. You have maybe it's resources like financially, or maybe it's relationships, or maybe you're in certain places now and you start to act what we call brand new. You start to act a little, a little funny money. And it's kind of like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yes.
Try to be the same person. Now we grow and we evolve. I get that, but we're trying to be the same person that we were behind the scenes as we are in front of the scenes. So don't let success go to your head. Like Ernie said, that John said, hey, you're probably not as good as you think you are. You're not as bad as you think you are either. Be level-headed, be consistent, because I've learned getting into some of these rooms that you guys have been in, it's kind of like there's levels to this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You think that you're hot until you get to around some people kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, can I follow up with this as well?
Sure.
There are people I've seen in my life, and I know that probably you've seen, and you ask yourself, they're not that. They're some of them just don't behave well, but yet they look like they have success.
Yeah.
Maybe they're your boss, or maybe they're somebody else's boss, or some kind of leadership person, and you're like, how in the world did they ever get there?
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen that before? And I ask myself that, especially in corporate world, I guess.
Sure.
You ask, there's bosses out there, they're really not all that good. They're really not. They really don't have those relationships. They don't lead with empathy. They don't lead.
Yeah.
How in the world did they get there?
I think that sometimes as well. Sometimes the scariest thing is to meet somebody that you've been wanting to meet for a long time, and then you actually meet them, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're like, I wish I'd never met you, because now I know who you really are. And I've been there. I remember I was at this my first radio event. I was there to make an announcement for this radio station in front of, I don't know, it was like 12,000, 16,000 people, however many people it was in the stadium. And before I did that, I was sent to get some interviews backstage with some of the artists. And again, the station's new, I'm new, and I'm just trying to figure things out. And most of the people were very kind and courteous, and they took time with me, and we had a good experience. And then I got to the person that I've been wanting to meet for so long, the biggest person in the industry, and they just came off stage from this meet and greet. And I said, hey, my name is such and such, and I would love for you to do this one quick liner. Just say, hey, my name is such and such, and boom. That was it. And he looked at me, and the manager was with him. They both looked at me, and they were like, no. And then they kicked me out back from stage. The security got me, and I got kind of, escorted out. And then I had to go on stage in front of everybody and make this announcement. And I was kind of like, I was hurt. I was frustrated. I was all the above. Now, I gave them grace. You never know what's going on behind the scenes and what their experiences are. But I was like, I wanted to vow in my heart not to ever treat somebody like that, because you never know where they'll turn up. Now, I've seen this person many times before now, and we're more peers than anything. And I never brought that up. It was just kind of like one of those things that you kind of note. But sometimes people make it in certain places, and I try to have grace and give people the benefit of the doubt because I don't know their story. And sometimes they were that hungry person. They were the person putting in the reps to get to that position, and then they got that power or position. Like the 5 levels of leadership, the positional level, where it's kind of like, oh, well, we only, we're following you because you're in this position, and they start to change or something like that, or they're insecure or prideful. You know what I mean? So you do wonder how certain people get in certain positions and why you're not in that position. But instead of being jealous or envious or covetous, you got to say, you know what? They're in that position, in that role for a reason. I'm in my role for a reason. I'm going to continue to work hard and do what I know to do. And then when the doors open, hey, if it's for me, it'll be for me. If it's not, it won't be.
Yeah. Ooh, I just had a thought now. Again, it's just stimulating. It's one of the things that we discussed on the content builds. So the scenario is you meeting people that you would love to meet, right? And for some odd reason, it turned out not to be the person that you end up wanting to meet in the first place. But what about in scenarios wherein somebody's listening and say, hey, okay, now I'm motivated. I want to move forward. I am willing to fall in love with the process, but I am in a place right now where I'm not even happy. What would you tell that person, Neal?
Oof, man, that's a tough one.
Good question, Ernst.
I think it's a great question. I think it's belief. I think all of us
Mm.
have
Ooh.
imposter syndrome to some degree.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Like why? Like I even question myself. Like why am I on this podcast? Like why do y'all want to learn from me? You know what I mean? You guys are,
Everything.
Everything.
you know, we all have these moments, and I try not
Yes.
to let happiness dictate purpose. I try not to let
Mm.
happiness
Ooh, I
dictate my
like.
habits.
I love that.
It's fleeting. It goes up, it goes down, it comes, it goes. It's kind of like, well, yeah, you can be happy one day, but I still got to get the job done. I could be depressed another day, but I still got to get the job done. And it's like,
Yes.
yet remember your why of what you're doing, and that will bring you a sense of joy and a sense of peace while you're in the middle of a storm. But happy is not really the goal, because if you're chasing after happiness, it's fast and it's
Yeah.
fleeting, and there's
Mm.
moments of it. And sometimes you can have. I think I shared this with you before. Is Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, right?
Yes.
Colorado coach.
Mhm.
One of the best football players to ever play the game. Phenomenal baseball player. Played in the pros. Won a MLB World Championship as well as an NFL championship in the same year. The best to ever do it. Now he's coaching, but he even mentioned after he won a Super Bowl, he goes back to his mansion. His Lamborghini's in his driveway. Just got a Super Bowl ring. Played one of his best games, and he's sitting in his house alone, depressed.
Mm.
How? Because you're at the pinnacle of everything that you worked hard for. You have
Mhm.
everything that anybody could ask for. How are you depressed?
Yes. Mhm.
And it's really your why and where are you placing your value. You know,
Mm.
when it's about others, when it's about serving people, um, it gives you this sense of joy. It gives you this sense of belonging and purpose that you can't really get anywhere else, because we'll all reach the end of our road. But it's like,
Yeah.
hey, what do I do now? Who do I turn to now? For me, it's my faith. For me, I'm glad I have a family that I can serve and people that, want information to help them grow. But there's
Mhm.
many times where just not happy, but you got to get up anyway. You got to do it. You got to stay motivated. John says, you can't stay motivated, stay consistent.
Mm.
Yeah. That's right.
Beautiful.
You can't stay motivated,
Wow.
stay consistent. And your consistency over time will prove to be a pathway for your success, but you can't rely on your emotions. They're real, but you can't base your life off of your emotions.
That's right.
Emotions. I
Wow.
definitely
Wow.
agree. Okay. We will need to take a quick break.
Oh,
Neil just shared how to fall in love with the process. When we return, I don't know, I don't want to disclose the next segment of our show today. We will just keep this a mystery. With that, we will be right back to the Leader's Edge.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele with my co-host Ernie DeCumos and our special guest today, Neal Hopson. Oh my goodness, what a segment there. That flew by too. I mean, this is crazy. We're going by so fast, and we've got so much we could cover. Neal, I was going to say we may have to have you come back.
Yeah, I would love to.
I don't think that's a May partner. We are having you back.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we talked about so much. And you talked a little bit about the Deion Sanders story a few minutes ago, and I thought that was beautiful. And falling down and getting back up. And Deion had everything. He had everything, but there was a point of depression in his life.
Yeah.
But tell us about that process, because I know the process of success is not a linear process. It's not point A straight to point B.
No.
Right? What does that look like?
Well, it's more secular. It's something that you're going to experience over and over again. There's seasons of life. Everybody wants spring and summer, right? I'm not sure what your favorite seasons are. Ernie, what's your favorite season? How about that?
I think for me it's winter.
Ooh, okay. How about you, Steve?
I'm more like summer into fall. That's kind of where I like the fall season.
Yes. So I like spring and summer. I like the anticipation of spring, that there's something better to come, and summer, just the fun of summer and all the things. But where I live in St. Louis, we get all 4 seasons. And it can happen in a week where literally it goes from snowing to 75 to, it's one of those things where we get to experience those seasons, and all through life, we get used to, in anticipate the summer season. We just want to be fun in the sun. Everything's great. There's no worries, no cares. It just feels good. And the thing is that like, we can't appreciate our favorite season without the other seasons, right?
Yes.
If you just live in a consistent time, it's a consistent area where it's like 75 all year long, that's great, right? However, it's once you get in that snow, once you feel some rain, once you get in those seasons where it's like it's unsure, it's a little unpredictable, it helps you appreciate the season that you're going through.
Yes.
Because I don't know how many times where you fall down in one season and you're frustrated and you're figuring like, why start? Why get back up? It's not going to work. I don't have enough resources. People are so much further along. Somebody's in my lane. Do they really need to hear my voice? And the answer is yes, they do. And guess what? You're going to fail. And there's some seasons where it's going to feel like hell. And you're going to feel like, why am I even here? Should I even get up again? And the answer again is yes. There's a quote that says, don't let your setback cause you to sit back. Let it prepare you for your comeback. Right?
Beautiful.
Don't let your setback cause you to sit back. It's a setup to prepare you for your comeback. And when you think of it that way, it's kind of like, okay, everybody likes a comeback story. Everybody likes like a movie where you experience some tragedy and then the triumph feels even better. So in your life, it's going to look like this. It's going to be some ups and downs, and that's going to be a good thing, because when you put the reps in, you start to get some confidence. You start to see some receipts in your life. And then you start to move to the next season. Then people start to refer you, and people say, "Oh, you got to check out this person because you're proven. You put the reps in, right?" And then you start to, get some rewards in your life. And then you start to see, okay, how can I rest, rinse, and repeat. You know what I mean? It's a circle. It's a cycle of life. It's not linear where you're going to get to this place and things are going to be awesome and that's the end. No, you keep on going. Steve and Ernie, we talked about. Not retiring. What does that look like?
Yes.
Everybody has the goal and the dream of, I just want to, retire and ride off into the sunset. And that's cool to a degree, but instead of retiring, how about we refire? Right?
Yes.
We don't retire, we refire. That's what keeps us alive, keeps us driving, keeps us going. John is 78 years old. And he is still literally traveling around the world more than most anybody in the world, because he's going from, Argentina to West Palm to Ohio to, across the sea. It's a nonstop thing because he has a purpose and a calling on his life. And he knows he has only so much time. So he's not just retiring and on the golf course and he'll just sit out for his rest. No, he's like, I'm in the game. I'm in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that
Yes.
fire in you and you have the purpose, you know that you're going to experience some craziness in life, but guess what? You're in the game. That you should be excited about.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that is
And
beautiful.
I wanted to also add the misconception of when I retire, I get to do XYZ, right? When I retire, I get to do this. Well, we don't really have a lot of time when we retire.
True.
Yes.
It's
Good
it's one of those
point.
things where, yeah, it's cool to rest. I'm a component of resting. I used to hate rest. I used to think napping, resting was of the devil. I was like,
Huh?
no, I will not rest. I will rest, sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
I quickly found out that if you don't rest, you'll be dead a lot
Y-
sooner. So
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
Yes.
let me
Exactly.
get some rest in and make sure I'm
I
taking
just
time to
don't.
refuel.
I just don't have any interest in on as retiring and going grabbing a fishing line and
Rod.
going to a bank and just fish all day. I don't. I mean, I love to fish, but I don't can't see myself doing that every single day of my life
Sure.
and for the rest of my life, just sitting back and doing nothing. I think if you have a purpose in your life and you have a
Yeah.
calling in your life, you're going to have
Hmm.
that till the day you die.
Yeah.
And what you do
Hmm.
with that makes all the difference. That's the fulfillment part of your life.
You know, you're right. And I'll throw this out there and you let me know what you think about it. When you get to a certain age in life, now again, I'm not at that age, but I've been through transitions in my life where I've had to let
Mm.
things go.
Mm-hmm.
And I struggle with that because my identity was wrapped up in that.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
And when you have done something or you're known for something for so long,
You're hitting home here, Neal. You're starting. You're hitting home here.
listen, you have expectations from yourself. Others have
Yes.
expectations of you. And I'll be vulnerable here. I had a 10-year like high school reunion that I missed intentionally because I wasn't where I thought I could have been. And I thought that I would get judged when I showed up because I didn't
Mm.
accomplish what they thought that I would accomplish by the time, 10 years from then. I thought that I would be a professional tennis player traveling the world, that I would be, on television and doing all the things. And that's what they thought as well, based off of my high school career.
Yeah.
And since I wasn't there by the time my 10th, high school reunion came around, I decided to skip it because I felt embarrassed. I felt insecure. I felt like I was exposed. And
Mm.
what it showed me was my identity was wrapped in to what I did.
Mm.
And when it was time to let that thing go, and so many people, so many athletes, so many people in professional world, when it's time to let go of that thing that you've put your trust and your hopes in and move to a different season of life, most people don't handle that well. Most get
Mm.
depressed. Most don't know what to do. And when you have something that's saying, you know what, there's more for you on the other side of your obedience, that's what gives you the power to say yes. Because this is just a season of life. It has ended. It is done. Move on to the next season of your life because there's something better for you.
Oof.
Mm.
Okay. I don't know how to wrap that up. That is so beautifully said. We're approaching the conclusion of our show, but if there is one thing that you can leave to someone who's listening right now, Neal, who wants to start the process and reaching the goal that they want, what would that be?
Oof. Well, first, I would say you're doing better than what you think you are. Okay.
Mm.
You're doing a whole lot better than what you think you are. And having an attitude of gratitude to start is going to help you. Because if you're not
Mm.
thankful when you start this process and during the process, it's never going to be good enough for you. You're always going to be reaching and wanting more, and you're going to feel unfulfilled.
Mm.
But when you know that you have a purpose and a calling on your life, which all of you do that are listening and watching, you have a specific purpose on your life, and you may not know what that is, but as you start, you'll start to see clues. I have a 7-year-old. You start to see some blues clues, and you'll start to see some different indicators down the road that'll take you closer and closer to where you want to be, but you have to start in order to see those things. God can't move a parked car. You have to get some momentum, some motion in it, and it may just be I'm gonna get the URL, I'm gonna get the YouTube channel, I'm gonna just apply, I'm gonna get the application, I'm gonna start doing something. And when you start the little things, you start to see progress in your life. You start to see, okay, maybe it wasn't hard as I thought it was. And then you'll start to celebrate the little wins, and then you'll start to grow and you start to get better. It's not rocket science. It's reps. It's just doing it over and over again. And then you tweak and then you adjust. Nick Saban, one of the best coaches in college football ever to do it. He wins a national championship. And guess what? A day or two later, he's not celebrating anymore. He already did that a day ago. He's back on the grind again. Because like we said before, the journey is the destination. The process is the destination. So, but you have to start somewhere. Yeah. Little bites, inch by inch, it's a cinch. Get 1% better, like James Clear says, every day. And if you can do that, you'll be surprised at how far you can go and what you can accomplish.
Yeah, and I think Nick Saban also said the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Everything. Yep.
So good.
It's beautiful.
So good.
So beautiful. Neal, thank you so much for your time today. I'm sure our listeners are wondering, what are you currently working on and how can they reach out to you?
Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm always working on something to, I'm obviously have a radio show. It's called Boost Radio. And of course you can download the app and all that. But if you go to nealhopson.com, all of my information is there. You can have the different resources right there. And you can find out kind of what I'm doing next. I'm on Instagram, of course, and Facebook and TikTok and all that. Neal Hopson is how you reach me. I go by Neallytime. That's my radio name. So you can always reach me there. But I'm always working on how I can add value better to people. That's really what I do. I'm in the business where we MC, we speak, we creative direct. And one of the things that we get to do is add value to clients around the world that want to help people take the next step. So if you want to take the next step in your communication and your speaking, I can definitely help with that. I coach people in communication all the time. But check out nealhopson.com. You can get in touch with me there, and I would love to connect with you.
Oh, Neal, thank you so much. That's absolutely. Look up the website, everyone, and take a look at it and really get to know what Neal's doing. An amazing, amazing guy. But hey, guys, next week, let me just tell you this right now. Join us next Thursday on Who You Be with Deidre Harris, leadership trainer and consultant, as she dives into a powerful connection between values, beliefs, and behaviors, and discover how you are at your core shapes how you lead, how you connect, how you show up in the world. It's a conversation you don't want to miss. And as always, Neal, thank you so much for today. It far exceeded my expectation. Thank you, Neal. We appreciate you being here.
Ernie and Steve, thank you so much for having me. This has been a pleasure, and I can't wait to come back.
Yay! Yes, he is coming back. Yes, we wanted to say thank you to all of our listeners and friends, because without you, the Leader's Edge would not be possible. Like Neal here. We are grateful to have you here and so excited to connect with you next time. But for now, bye, everyone.